Hello, everyone, and thanks for joining today's webinar on establishing a simple and quality safety program for any size company. My name's Dan Deller, and I'm a principal consultant with Progressive Safety, and I'll be your presenter for today, going over some best practices and some tips and tricks to be able to develop a simple and quality safety program. Here at Progressive Safety, we believe in keeping safety simple. It's very easy, and often many companies and people really just overcomplicate safety. And we like to really just focus on keeping it simple. We've developed a system that not only keeps safety management simple, we've also developed a safety program for any size company in any industry that is easily able to be developed and implemented anywhere. So I'll tell you a little bit about us. We are based in Charlotte, North Carolina, but we do operate in the Mid-Atlantic and Southeast, all the way up into DC. We have consultants and offices in DC, North Carolina, Raleigh, Charlotte, into Tennessee, Georgia, Atlanta, Georgia, and all the way down into Florida as well. We work in many different industries, as you can see, and our expertise, we range anywhere from certified safety professionals to certified industrial hygienists, associate risk managers. All of our consultants also have educations and undergraduate degrees, at least in occupational safety and health. We do focus on the clients and have some very strong core values. We provide loss control and safety management services within the construction and general industry. And basically, what we do is safety inspections, training, staffing, and develop written safety programs. Those are really our core functions. As you can see, I mean, the list goes on and on. If there's any sort of safety need, that's what we do. We provide those services. So let's jump right into the webinar here. Let's talk about some objectives. What we want to get out of today is we want you to learn and gain an understanding of the consequences of OSHA non-compliance. We're not going to spend too much time on this, but we do just want to be able to understand why this is important before we roll into what the best practices are. We want to want you to gain an understanding of the employer responsibilities. We also want you to gain an understanding of what OSHA requires. Want you to gain an understanding of what a well-designed safety program looks like and how to meet OSHA's requirements and develop an ideal safety culture within your own organization. And then lastly, we'll cover how progressive safety management makes safety simple. So let's jump in and let's talk about some OSHA facts here. All of this information is based from 2018. It includes the federal and state OSHA inspections. During 2018, there were over 73,000 OSHA inspections. Of those 73,000 inspections, there were over 163,000 citations were issued. And I do also just want to throw out there that even though an inspection does occur, they don't always result in a citation. Of the citations that were issued, there was over $422 million in citations were issued to companies. So the averages are, they're about over 200 inspections are being conducted every single day here in the US. Now that number is probably a little bit lower than it actually is because, as we know, OSHA is a government agency and has many holidays and vacation packages, and they work some very comfortable hours. So basically, if you were to take the number of inspections and divide it by the 365, that's what we came up with. So minus weekends, minus holidays, minus vacation days, you would see that average number of inspections per day is probably much larger than what we have here is 200 200 a day. But nonetheless, that's a lot of inspections occur every single day. Out of the inspections, the average is about 2.25 citations are issued per inspection. Again, not every inspection results in a citation, so that number also is probably a much larger number. On average, what we see is if a company has an OSHA inspection and it results in at least one citation, the average that we see is about 4 to 6 citations are typically issued. We very, very rarely see only one citation issued from an inspection. Usually, if there's one, there's more. So let's talk about what the consequences of non-compliance are. Of course, there's injuries first and foremost. I mean, if we're not working safe and we don't have a good safe program, we're going to have injuries. All right. With injuries, we have costs, medical bills. We're going to get productivity loss. If somebody's injured, we got to get somebody new out there to be able to backfill them to continue on work. We also have employee replacement costs. So if we do have to get somebody new out there or hire somebody new to replace them, it's going to take time to be able to train them, to get them up to speed and do on-the-job training and prepare them to be able to do the job that they're backfilling. Employee morale can begin to start to suffer when we have lots of injuries at a company. People become worried and concerned about, gosh, there's 3 people have been injured doing the same exact work that I'm doing. They could become very hesitant, very scared, and just really kind of concerned for their safety at work, and it can just really start to bring down morale. Some other consequences are obviously OSHA citations. We just talked a bunch about that. But with OSHA citations, you're going to get productivity loss again. When OSHA shows up, definitely work slows down because they're going to be in your business, wanting to talk with employees, looking here and there, and you probably will want to slow down operations just to make sure that no other sort of issues arise. So with that, we have productivity loss. Also, public hurt image. This can be a real one. I mean, if you have some very large OSHA citations, which are all public information, it can hurt your public image. We had one organization during one of our presentations share a story about how 16 years ago they had an OSHA inspection and it resulted in some citations. And to this day, if you search just for their name on Google, they appear as the #1 result, which is really great, right? We all want to be that #1 result on Google when somebody searches our company name. However, the reason why they were #1 was because of that OSHA citation and, well, the few OSHA citations that were there that they addressed and corrected many years ago and are leaps and bounds beyond where they ever were 16 years ago. But there it is. Imagine how that can impact organizations' future success. When someone's looking to do business with you and they look it up and they see some serious OSHA citations and injuries that result, those potential clients and customers may decide to go somewhere else. So can hurt your public image. The other is employee morale. Again, if we're having a lot of OSHA keep showing up, they're getting concerned, worried, they're really not sure what's going on. If we have good safe work practices and we're good business, it can really affect employee morale. The last is obviously penalty costs. When we get OSHA citations, it can be very expensive. And if we're getting OSHA citations and we're a company that needs to bid on work, such as contractors, most of GCs, general contractors, do request OSHA rates. So how many injuries have you had in the past 3 to 5 years? And have you had any OSHA citations in the past 3 to 5 years? And are any of those serious? And what have you done to correct all of those things? there's a lot of general contractors out there these days that if you submit a package for bid and your numbers are above a number that they've decided on, that they won't even consider you. It doesn't matter how good a quality product there or service you provide. It doesn't matter how quickly you can get it done or how cheaply you can get it done. You won't even get a chance to be able to get in front of them to be able to even get your bid through because your OSHA rates or you've had too many OSHA citations. They just move on. So, another reason why we want to make sure that we are staying within OSHA compliance and above OSHA compliance, so it doesn't affect our potential to bid in the future. Each citation can go up to these areas of 13,000 to 132,000 per violation. So as you can see, it can get very expensive. As we mentioned, typically if you get one citation, you're getting multiple citations. And on the average, we see about 4 to 6 citations if at least one was issued. So you can see those numbers can get very expensive very quickly. So overall, the real bottom line to OSHA compliance or non-compliance could be the future success of your business. Okay, if your OSHA rates are too high, you may not be able to get work. And also if we're having lots of injuries, your insurance costs will begin to go up, and they could eat into all the profit margins, and eventually may not be able to stay in business any longer. So enough about the consequences of OSHA non-compliance. Let's talk about employer responsibilities. So the bottom line is for every employer's responsibilities in the eyes of OSHA is that they need to provide a safe and healthful workplace to all employees free from recognized hazards. Okay. So that's the ultimate bottom line piece there. We need to be able to provide a safe workplace for all employees, free from hazards. All right, so let's break this down and let's keep this really simple. All right, we're going to build upon this one slide over the next few slides. All right, but this is how we want to keep safety simple. So what does OSHA require? If we boil this down to the lowest level here, we first need to set the safety expectations. Who are we as a company? What is it that we expect our employees to do, our management to do, our contractors to do? What is it that we're going to do to provide that safe workplace? The next thing that we do once we've set the expectation is we need to make sure we communicate the expectations. We need to tell the employees, we need to tell our management and our leadership and our supervisors. We need to communicate all of those expectations out to everybody at the organization. Even it includes contractors. Once we've communicated it, we then need to go and implement the safety expectations. Okay. So if we say we're going to go do inspections, we need to go do those. If we're going to go do a lockout tagout procedure, we need to go do that. If we're going to provide training, we need to go do that. All right. So you need to implement the safety expectations. After we've implemented the safety expectations, as an employer, you need to monitor the safety expectations that are implemented. Okay, so it's not just enough to say, oh yeah, well, we told the contractors and we told our employees to go do these things. We can't just close our eyes or take our hands off the wheel. We need to actually go implement it and then monitor to make sure that it's being implemented as we expected. Once we begin monitoring, we need to correct and improve any of those safety expectations. OSHA expects that employers are to do this. So as you're doing and you're monitoring safety expectations, you're going to identify some really great things, good practices, capture those, communicate those, let everybody know, hey, great job. These are the things we're doing. But you're also probably going to encounter unsafe conditions, unsafe behaviors. Okay. When we see those, you need to make sure, and OSHA expects again, that you correct and improve those safety expectation implementations, okay? So if the lockout tag, if no one's using the lockout tagout program, you got to do something about it. Okay. If it's being done and it's not working, we need to do something about it. Okay. The last is then maintain safety records. Okay. So all these things that we said we're going to go do, and the things that we're doing, we need to make sure that we're capturing and we're recording all of these things. All right. So these 6 steps right here build upon each other. You can't do one of the later steps if we haven't done one of the previous steps. And if we do all of these things, we will meet all of OSHA's requirements and satisfy any courtroom, any lawyer, any OSHA inspector, anybody. Okay. We'll be able to prove that we've upheld our responsibility as an employer if we have done these things. So how do we meet OSHA's requirements? All right. So if we break it back down from the very beginning and we look at set safety expectations, underneath there is how we're going to meet those expectations. Develop a safety program. Okay. A written, comprehensive safety program. It's going to be saying who we are, what we're going to do, and how we're going to do it. The next one is then safety policies. Very similar. They kind of are hand in hand, but it's basically going to be directing and setting the standard of what we're going to do across the entire organization. The next is going to be make sure that our contractors and our contracts communicate our expectations for any contractors. Okay, if we expect them to follow our safety program or at least meet our safety program, then that's what we need to communicate. If nonetheless they need to meet OSHA and local, federal, state, local laws and regulations, okay, those items should be in those contracts. But any of your expectations, if you expect them to do inspections, if you expect them to do training, communicate that. You got to outline it. The next one is then communication. How are we going to communicate safety expectations? This is how we can simply meet those requirements. Things like safety training. Okay. During the safety training, that's where we're going to get up there and we're going to be able to say, hey, here's our expectation for lockout, tagout, fall protection, using ladders, fire extinguishers. These are expectations. Okay. And then here's what you're going to do in order to work within our expectations. You need to train the employees. That's the communicating part. You can also do safety meetings. Okay, make sure we're having safety meetings, doing toolbox talks, communicating all of those expectations on a regular basis. The other could be an employee safety handbook. Okay, where we take the safety program and we boil it down to an employee user flip book that fits in their back pocket, that is their reference guide that enables them to implement safety themselves. It's a very helpful handbook. It helps remove the I forgot or I didn't know excuses anymore. We use the handbook as a coaching opportunity to say, hey, well, how come we aren't using the ladder as designed, or our excavation isn't set up properly. Let's pull out the employee safety handbook. Let's open up to this section and let's take a look. Oh, here it says we need to have, for excavation and trenching, we need to have spoils back at least 2 feet, and we need to have a ladder for access and egress once the excavation is at least 4 feet deep, and it needs to be within 25 feet of travel distance. All these things, right? And so the point is, we want to enable our employees, but it's another effective way of communicating our safety expectations. Okay. The next is implementing safety expectations. How are we going to meet those requirements? That's just going to have procedures, standard operating procedures, forms, and checklists. Basically, these things begin with the very first step is setting the expectations. So all we need to do in this step is just use them. Make sure that we're using them. Get everybody to go, here's the procedure, here's the SOP, here's the forms, here are the checklists. Let's go do it. Utilize them, implement it. The next is going to be monitor safety expectations. We need to make sure that they're being implemented. We do that through safety inspections. All right. So we should get supervisors involved, management, leadership involved. Even employees is another opportunity. If you can afford to have employees get involved in the inspection program, we highly recommend that that gets done. But we should conduct these inspections periodically, okay, and maintain these records. One thing that we always do say is if you didn't document it, you didn't do it. All right. OSHA will say that. So will any court, any lawyer. If you don't have it documented, it never happened. So make sure we're getting out there, we're doing safety inspections. We don't want to do just safety inspections just for our own workplace and for our employees, but also for contractors. For those of you who are managing contractors, this is one ball that gets dropped very often. And the contractor that hires another contractor finds themselves in trouble because they are not providing oversight and monitoring that the safety expectations are being implemented by the contractor that was hired. Okay, so you need to get out there periodically. Don't need to hold their hand. We don't need to babysit them and be with them all the time. But periodically, you're going to need to go out there and provide some level of oversight and conduct a simple safety inspection. This will take credit for monitoring safety for these contractors. Okay, and so make sure you document it, because again, if you didn't document it, it didn't happen. All right, the next one there is correct and improve, and I think I need to fix the slides because well, it popped up from the very beginning, but you can see right there, it's already listed there. All right, is that this is another very important critical one. Okay, is that we need to correct and improve the safety expectations. All right, so while we're doing an inspection and we're providing oversight, if we have corrective actions, all right, things like unsafe conditions or unsafe behaviors, we need to do something about it. All right. So you need to address those issues and you need to make sure you close them out. So go back to that inspection and write in there what was done, what was corrected, and when it was corrected. If you do those things, you'll be fulfilling all of your employer responsibilities and requirements in OSHA's eyes, the law's eyes, courtroom's eyes, lawyers' eyes, everybody's eyes, okay? And you'll have all of your ducks in a row, okay? Because like I said, the first thing is you need to be able to say who we are and what we're going to do for safety. And you need to communicate it, implement it, make sure we check up on it, make sure that we are doing it and it's working the way that we expected it to work. And then if it's not, we need to take corrective actions, right? So once we've done that, we just need to maintain records. We need to maintain training records, meeting records, inspection records, injury records, such as OSHA 300 logs, all that stuff. All right, so just keep up on that stuff. These are the most boiled down employer requirements of what OSHA is going to expect. From here, we have taken and developed a system and a process that helps organizations accomplish this very quickly and easily. All right. And one of the so where do we fit in, and what can we do to help if you did need any or we're interested in any of that type of help is one of the key things that we do is 4 major things. And the first one is that we come in and we develop and organize the safety expectations and the communication plan of communicating the expectations. So we really come in and we develop and organize the entire program all at once. Once that's done, we need to set the direction and a plan. So based on wherever an organization is at in their safety program development stages, some are further along, some have 0. But wherever they fall at in that development stage, we'll develop and set the direction in a plan. Okay, that plan includes organizational roles and responsibilities, expectations, frequencies of things to implement, such as safety meetings, inspections, training. We put together training schedules, all of those things. So really set the direction and a plan. The next thing is provide all the resources. So this is one of the key things that really separates us from most safety service companies, is that we do provide all of the resources for you to be able to actually accomplish all 6 of these steps. Okay. Think of it like kind of like a DIY, do it yourself type program. If you were going to build a house, in the first step, we're going to figure out what type of house and all the things that you need and want in the house. And then we're going to develop the plans. We're going to give you drawings and instructions on how to do it and where you need to put the nails and 2x4 and what hammer or what screwdriver you're going to need. And then once we provide all the plans, we're going to deliver all the lumber, we're going to deliver the nails and the hammers, all the tools that you're going to need to build it, all the resources. We'll drop them off at your doorstep for you to go and build that house, or in these terms, your safety program. All right. And then the last thing and continuous thing that we do is we provide that ongoing safety management support. So throughout the entire phase and beyond the phase, once things are being implemented and ongoing and your safety culture is continuing to develop and build, we continue to provide that safety expert advice, unlimited consulting, basically. Pick up the phone, give us a phone call. You have questions, we'll give you the answers on, if there's any interpretation questions, or, hey, how do I do this? This is the situation that we're in out here right now. What's the recommendation? What's the suggestion? What do we go do next? Okay. So that way you stay on track and you stay on plan. So that's really what we do. Let us be the experts in what we do while you be the experts in what you do. Let us provide all the tools and resources and the direction so that way you can DIY and do it yourself with experts guiding and supporting you all along the way. So as I mentioned, the 4 things are, the first thing that we do is we develop and organize. The things that we'll be developing and organizing are written safety programs, employee safety handbooks, training matrix, inspection program, safety meeting program, JHAs or JSAs, emergency action plans, labor law posters, get you set up from day one, everything that you need to have a complete safety program. And then the next is going to be, well, where do we go from there? It's a lot of information, but how do we launch this thing? How do we get people organized? So it'll be develop a management action plan, a high level view for leadership to say, where are we today and where are we headed? The next is develop a set of roles and responsibilities throughout the entire organization. So if we have branches or different locations or general managers or site managers and superintendents and supervisors and foremans, what do all those different roles and throughout the entire organization, what do they do? What are they going to do for safety, and how do they fit into the big picture? What will they do on a daily basis, a weekly basis, a monthly basis? Okay. So we outline those. Develop and organize the expectations for the implementation, very similar to what I just described, and then provide the training on how to implement the safety program. So basically, provide that training on the direction of saying, okay, the next step is this, this, and that. This is how you do it. This is what it looks like. And then also provide all of the training on how to use the safety resources. So along with the safety resources, there's a whole lot of stuff in that safety management software that we use, and the online training and the inspection apps and toolbox talk apps. Well, how do you use that stuff? It's a lot of resources, and so we'll provide all the training on how to use that stuff so you can be quick in the field, efficient, and what best fits your organization, because every organization is going to be a little bit different on how these things will be implemented. It's not one size fits all, but we work in so many different industries with so many different companies. we've either experienced it or can very quickly figure out what will work best and what won't work best. But we need to do that together as well. We need your input and feedback, so we can develop the best strategy to be able to implement and provide that training to utilize those resources. So that is that third piece, as I've kind of segued into it, is we provide all the resources I mentioned. We do utilize the safety management software, which becomes access and available for all of our clients to be able to use. It's a one-stop shop type thing. It's your records management system, keeps all of your safety records in there. It has online OSHA safety training, all the topics. It's in English and Spanish. You can do it on a phone, a tablet, a computer, so you can do it in the field. You can be efficient. They're short videos. You watch a video, you take a short test, and then boom, your training records are updated immediately. You can also print employee wallet cards or ID cards that are scannable with a QR code that will immediately pull up their training records to show what they're qualified and certified in. The others that the safety management software provides is toolbox talks. So now you'll have a database of all these toolbox talks, and you can do it on your phone, a tablet, or a computer. There's an app for that. There's an app for everything. So we also have an app for an inspection. So you can do your inspections by a phone or a tablet or a computer, and create simple checklists, go through, and anybody can check them. And as soon as it's done, boom, records are maintained in the system. And also, if any corrective actions are created, and we'll assign them to supervisors. And then that way we can track the corrective actions to closure very easily. It sends emails, the toolbox talks and inspections. They can be emailed to even clients. As soon as you're done, when you hit submit, it'll ask you, do you want to send it to anybody additional? And boom, it gets sent to them. You can also use that same inspection app to do it for equipment. So if you want to start doing your forklift inspections, do it that way. So you have records for everything, and if there's any equipment issues, those equipment issues get sent to maintenance. And now it lands on their radar so they can generate work orders or do what they need to do. Safety meetings as well. There's an app for that, as well as material for content to be able to go and do to hold a safety meeting. Records management. The safety software produces in all the OSHA 300 logs for all of your locations. We also have a client safety portal that houses a greater deal of resources outside of the safety management software. We conduct we provide monthly newsletters, as well as we host monthly webinars too for our clients. And then there's the fourth step. That was the providing ongoing support. Basically, we're extension of your team. Let us be the safety experts. Give us a call, email us anytime, and ask us for direction, support, suggestions, recommendations. Just bounce things off of to make sure you're on the right track. If that's the case, you or your managers or your supervisors, it's available. We have a team, so if one of us isn't available, someone typically is. Make sure that we're also there to make sure you're sticking to the plan. Okay, so remember back in step 2 where we developed the direction and plan, we'll be there to also make sure that we're sticking to the plan and the plan is working. And each year we'll readjust the plan, because sometimes our plans, even though they sound like, wow, we can do this in the next year and over the course of the year, things come up and things change. The plan might even change. And so that next year we'll reevaluate where we're at. We'll make a new plan for the year, so that way we can stay on track and continue moving and improving our safety culture. So, so that's a little bit more about what we do. This is how we do it. This is, in most cases, it's about a 3-month process to really get all of these things up and running. But we do a lot of things simultaneously. But we have a team of safety professionals basically work with you to develop and tailor your safety program. We develop the roadmap. We'll set the expectations and set up your safety management software. We train you how to implement the safety program and how to use all the safety management software and all the resources for you to use to make sure you can go and do it. And then on the back end, we're just going to provide safety expert support. Okay. So you can see there's a little bit of a timeline and kind of how and what we're doing through that process. But overall, the idea is that how do we enable you to own your safety program, to make you as efficient as possible while implementing the program and meeting all of OSHA's requirements and expectations. So here's a little bit more on some of our resources and what this looks like. We use the iceberg example because, it's the safety management resources and the software is really just the tip of the iceberg. There's so much more that we can't even include on this slide, or of really what's available and for you to use and what's included. But the main features that have the greatest impact and which everybody really loves is the online safety training, again, which is in English and Spanish. We also have the safety inspection app, the Toolbox Talk app, and then, of course, it maintains any and all of your records all in one place. That way you're not trying to take paper records and scan them into a file and then, or have multiple spreadsheets where you're tracking training over here and injury stuff over there. It's all in one place, and it creates reports, dashboards, all kinds of really neat stuff. So anyways, we provide all the resources again there. So what do the takeaways look like? Here's the takeaways again. If there was anything that I want you to really be able to take away from here, and if there was one slide this entire presentation were to have, this would be it. Okay, right there you have your 6 required things that OSHA expects every employer to do, and underneath each of those 6 steps there are bullet points on the things that you can go and do yourself. Don't need us at all. That you completely can go and do this all on your own. If you decide to do that and you just want tips and tricks and some ideas and bounce some stuff off of us, please feel free. Shoot me an email, give us a call. Even if it doesn't turn into a relationship, we love that you've improved workplace safety there, and we're just happy to be a part of it and helping people work safe overall and go home safe. So we feel success on that side too. Other than that, if you would like any more information or a free consultation, come in to take a look at, get a snapshot of your safety program. We can take a look at that and just have a general conversation. If you want to learn more, but even our services outside of really our bread and butter of what we do, which is this, as I mentioned, if it's just, we need safety inspections or a training class here, or air monitoring or noise survey completed, we do most of anything. As I mentioned, we have a large team of safety professionals with a lot of great deal of experience and credentials as well. So again, I want to thank you for your time. I hope that this was of value. If it was, please let me know. Send an email to info@progressivesafety.com, or you can send it to myself, and it's my first initial last name, so D Deller, and it's spelled DELLER @progressivesafety.com. You can also reach me by dialing that phone number there, 704-885-5913, and my extension is 1 or 001, I believe it actually is. But and you can give me a call, leave me a message. But again, thank you for your time, thank you for attending, and thank you for looking to improve your own safety program. Good luck to you, and we hope to see you at a future webinar soon. Thanks again. Bye.